When we began working on Solea, the vision was to create a contemporary residential development that truly responded to its coastal context, something that offered both an architectural presence and a sense of serenity. We aimed to merge high-quality urban living with a strong connection to nature. Over time, this vision evolved through detailed solar studies, energy modeling, and ongoing collaboration with both facade teams, clients, and engineers, which sharpened our focus on the sustainability and livability aspects of this project. The concept of resort-style living began to define the approach, influencing everything from access to views, facade treatment, and landscape design. A defining decision was the use of interlocking massing between the two buildings. Early on in the process, we explored different ways of breaking down the mass over the length of the site to avoid this monolithic feel that often comes with mid-rise buildings. This decision came out of various design workshops and charrettes with the clients, where we prioritized resident experience and visual permeability over pure efficiency. Maintaining a strong balance between form and function came from setting clear priorities at the start. We established performance and livability metrics, natural daylighting, ventilation, and shading efficiency on the facade. We used all of these to evaluate each iteration.
The main strategy was having expansive glazing in the living rooms and bedroom spaces to create a visual connection to the outdoors while maximizing daylight. Also, the building mass allowed for outdoor communal spaces, which blurred the lines between the indoor spaces and the outdoor public spaces. One detail the team and I are proud of is the interplay between the solid and the glazed elements of the facade, where we try to balance the transparency for views and light with solid panels for privacy and shading. And this rhythm gives the building an overall dynamic look, but also serves a practical function.
So one of the key goals with the interior design intent is to create a lifestyle. So at the end, we are designing for people who are going to be residents of this building. So we wanted to create a very calm sense of space. We wanted to create a space that caters to all segments of people. We were heavily influenced by the location of the project. All of these spaces have a stunning view of the lagoons, and that forms a very key backdrop. So we were inspired by the colors of the lagoon. So the concept of the interior is actually called as golden hour. So golden hour encapsulates the colors of the lagoon during the early dawn and dusk hours. So our palette has some really interesting colors. We have a beautiful, very pastel, mint blue green color. And then we also have some of the sunset colors that are translated into more pastel versions. For the material palette, we've used a lot of natural materials and very subtle textures, and these are used in very interesting ways and forms. So there's a similar material, but it's applied in different ways. So to create a more minimalist palette, but then to also create an interesting variation in the design. The biggest challenge of this project was with the architecture of the building itself. So it's an interlocking system that translates into the building being not on a standard grid system, so that creates a lot of apartment variants. Usually as a standard, we have 10 to 15 types of apartment variants. I worked on one which has 25, and that was the maximum. Here we have 65 variants of apartments, and we had to make sure that all of these were optimal and functional and had really good space planning. I personally enjoy the concept phase where you have a blank canvas and then your ideas start to take shape into something more concrete. So it's very satisfying to see that process unfold. This was a really good project with a really great client, and it is now completing the design stage and heading towards the construction phase. So it's really gratifying because the project sold really well. It sold out within hours of its launch. So that's something we're really happy about as well.
Out of 12,000 square meters of landscaping, we used 3,000 square meters of gravel to help reduce heat absorption and create a cooler microclimate. Shaded walkways were prioritized to ensure comfort across the site. And instead of relying heavily on artificial shading structure, we used trees to provide natural shade, preserving the softness and organic character of the landscape. To enhance the visual experience, the walkways were edged with colorful strips of seasonal flowers. adding vibrancy and dynamic layer to the overall aesthetic. Combined with native and adaptive planting, these strategies reflect a sustainable and human-centered design approach that blends functionally with beauty. At Solea, landscape design was never just about filling space. It was about crafting meaningful experiences. Every material, every tree, and every path was chosen to create a living environment that's not only sustainable, it's also emotionally rich and visually inspiring.